Greetings and good morning. It is Friday, the 31st of July, in the infamous year of 2026. I'm Thomas Caldwell of the Aurelian Column, and this is a special report on the crime of COVID. Well, it's been said that one death is a tragedy and a million is merely a statistic. That's a quote attributed to Joseph Stalin, but it most likely came from a French newspaper editor just after World War I. Well, yesterday, everybody got angry at a bureaucrat named Anthony Fauci. And okay, great. We're angry over the whole COVID incident, which is, quite simply, the greatest crime against humanity that has ever been perpetrated. If you consider all the countries, all the death, all the people made to suffer, all of the economic disaster, all of that, there's no second, not that I know of. Well, people are angry. Good. All at Mr. Fauci? No. There's a lot more people involved than just him. He's a bureaucrat. He's a statistician. He's the guy that believes in the statistics of 1 million deaths as opposed to 1 million tragedies, which is what it really is. Or in the case of COVID, many millions of tragedies. There are many bad guys involved with the COVID debacle. Many. The Chinese laboratory that released it to the world after playing with it for some reason, possibly a chemical weapon or biological weapon, I should say. No, there were lies, the media, politicians. Oh, and the drug companies, the ones that came up with that horrible stuff that so many people were tricked into putting into their bodies. Well, yeah, everybody's to blame, including the general public. A lot of stupid people out there. Sorry to have to say that, but it's true. People that just believed what they were told and went along with it. And that's how tyranny happens. That's how tyranny is effective, when people just go along with what the people in power tell them is good for them. Guess what? It wasn't. During the COVID crisis, I remember being at a rest stop on an interstate highway. You know, we have those in the United States. You stop and you take a break from driving, use a vending machine, the bathroom, all that other stuff. There was someone asleep in the car. And I couldn't help but notice that they had two masks on, a face mask and another face mask, and they were asleep and all by themselves. Idiocy. That's nuts. The reason this whole thing has happened is because we allowed it to happen and we went along with it happening. Now, I suffered during COVID, not from the disease, which was just basically a very, very elaborate flu. No, I had a lot of things happen to me that shouldn't have because of this. So I'm just as angry as anybody. But what made it worse was when I refused to take the gene therapy that they were passing around and telling people, you have to take it or you lose your job, you have to take it or you'll be responsible for other people getting it, and all sorts of crap. There are some of us, far too few, who said no. And it wasn't Anthony Fauci who was harassing me to go get the shot or shots. I lost a couple of friends to that shot. They died as a result of it. Now, I'm one of hundreds of millions, if not billions, of people who've been wronged. And it's good that people are finally angry, but you got to remember there's more to this than this guy who is up on Capitol Hill taking the Fifth Amendment. We have got to, though, settle this, so it'll never happen again. Remember never again when other bad things have happened? People were very big on that line. Well, this is in that class. You have the government bureaucrats. You have the politicians who backed them. You have the drug companies that profited. Oh, did they ever profit? Think of how many yachts and Mercedes and BMWs and mansions and all sorts of wonderful things were purchased because of the COVID business boom. Oh, and all the big retailers and wholesalers. How many small mom and pop shops were driven out of business forever while the big box companies remained open? So Walmart stayed open while a small supermarket down the street had to close. No. This is a crime against humanity. And it's good that people are angry about it. Mr. Fauci is one of many. What do? I want to see Nuremberg-like trials. And it would make Nuremberg look like traffic court, as I was saying at the time, if you remember. And these people have to be prosecuted, held to account, brought to justice. Another name for justice is revenge, and maybe in this case, that might be a good thing to call it. But we can't ever allow this to happen again. Look at this little pipsqueak excuse of a man going through his diary. And he was responsible for the fate of millions of Americans, hundreds of millions of us, and by extension, the rest of the world. He's just one. And he's very visible, but he's just one. There's a lot of people just like him just behind the scenes, those that consider 1 million deaths a statistic, or 10 million. And they don't think of the faces, the wives, the sons, the daughters, the husbands, the grandparents. Just think of all those people who had to die alone in a hospital because they couldn't have their loved ones nearby. Oh, the misery and the pain. We've got to face this, people. We've got to look at this. World War II taught us how horrible things can be. What terrible crimes can be committed against other human beings. And people are coming up with all sorts of excuses because they don't want to just look at this and say, this is us, we did this. We did this to ourselves. Because if you ask me, that fool, whoever he was, who was asleep in his car wearing 2 masks with no one around, and the windows rolled up, mind you, he's just as much at fault as anybody who was profiting from making the damn thing. Because we didn't use our brains, and we didn't use our hearts, and we didn't act human. There are people that looked at the macro of everything. You see that in American business all the time. Somebody could be a beggar on the street, and you'll have someone walk up to him and lecture him on the statistical realities of homelessness, or something like that. Because they aren't looking at the person there, they're looking at the statistics. Humans are not statistics. I am not a statistic, and if you're watching this, you're not a statistic. You're a living, breathing human being with a very, very short lifespan, considering the scale of the universe. You're here to do something. There's a lot of theological debates as to what or why, but you're here to do something. Preferably without causing harm to other people who are also trying to do something. So it's good, America, that you're angry. It's good that many of our political leaders are angry. But you now have to do something about it. We need investigations and prosecutions and carrying out of sentences that's going to make the war crime trials of World War II look pale. Because that's what's needed. The COVID crisis, the COVID pandemic, altered the human situation in ways that it shouldn't have been altered. It drove us more into the category of slaves. And that can't happen, because humans who aren't free aren't really human. Let us avenge those who died and those who suffered. And as a testament to everything they went through and the many who didn't survive. As testament to that, make sure that it never happens again, and the world will become a better place because of it. That's it for today. If you appreciate my work, please like, subscribe, and share. Share with your friends and share with your enemies. And there are enemies who should be brought to justice. Remember that. I can be reached at feedback@aureliancolumn.com. That's feedback@aureliancolumn.com. I'm up on X. My handle there is MICCAMPEN. That's MICCAMPEN. This podcast originates at Substack. My handle there is aureliancolumn.substack.com. Until we meet again, be good, be safe, be vigilant, and remember, Clown World, the deep state, and artificial intelligence must be destroyed. And to my fellow Virginians, sic semper tyrannis. Good day.